Assalamualaikum and hi. I would like to give some introduction about one of the French mathematician and philosopher who is born in 31st of March 1596. He is
René Descartes.
okay.
René Descartes.
Main achievement was to bridge the gulf between algebra and geometry. In algebra, he explained in detail that how algebraic equation can be expressed and explained through use of geometrical shapes. And in geometry, he is the first mathematician who laid the foundation of modern geometry that resulted in development of analysis calculus.
René Descartes.
Died on 11 of February 1650 at Stockholm, Sweden. Next is
Pierre de Fermat.
he is also a French mathematician, but he also a lawyer who is born on 17 August of 1601. He is a lawyer by profession but is credited most of his accomplishment in the field of mathematics.
Pierre de Fermat.
Development in infinitesimal calculus and for discovering the method for finding the greatest and smallest ordinates of curved lines.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. In this subtopic, I will explain about the era of Descartes and Fermat in algebra and geometry. Descartes in algebra and geometry. One of Descartes' most enduring legacies was his development of Cartesian or analytic geometry, which uses algebra to describe geometry. Descartes invented the convention of representing unknowns in equation by x, y, and z, and knowns by a, b, and c. He also pioneered the standard notation that uses subscripts to show the powers or exponents. For example, the two used in S2 to indicate x squared. Descartes was first to assign a fundamental place for algebra in the system of knowledge, using it as a method to automate or mechanize reasoning, particularly about abstract unknown quantities. European mathematicians.
Okay, now I will talk about the number theory during the era of Descartes and Fermat. Fermat interested in number theory was fostered by the work of Descartes, where at that time the only sources on number theory were Descartes' arithmetic and book of the element. Fermat studied Pell equation, perfect number, remarkable number, and what would later become Fermat number. Fermat developed the two-square theorem and the polynomial number theorem, which state that each number is sum of three triangular number, four square number, five pentagonal number, and so on. His famous last theorem was discovered by his son in the margin in his photocopy of an edition of the Descartes. Fermat was interested only in integer solution to his Descartes equation, and he looked for all possible general solutions. He often proved that certain equations had no solution, which usually baffled his contemporaries. In 1640, he announced his belief that number of the form 2 square plus 1, now seen as number of Fermat, are necessary prime are a centrilater, usually show that 2 square plus 1 is equal to 641 as a factor. The best of his Fermat-Mani theorem is a problem known as his great or large theorem. This appears in the margin of his copy of the Descartes arithmetic and state that the equation x power of n plus y power of n is equal to z power of n, where x, y, z, and n are positive integer and have no solution if n is greater than 2. In number theory, a Descartes number is an odd number which would have been an odd perfect number if one of its composite factors were prime. They were named after discussers who observed that the number d is equal to 188,585,576,189 is equal to 3 square times 7 square times 11 square times 13 square times 22,021. A disjunct number is defined as an odd number n is equal to np, where m and p are co-prime, and 2n is equal to sigma m times p plus 1, whence p is taken as a spoof prime.
Infinite and infinitesimal. The definition of infinite is a space or quantity that is limitless. In the infinite, it is more related to Pierre de Fermat than René Descartes because in infinite, it based on Fermat's last theory. Fermat's method of infinite descent definition is an offshoot of mathematical induction that can be used to disprove statements. Dana Pellegrino stated that Pierre de Fermat is known as integral mathematician. His contribution is mainly to calculus and number theory. Number theory is based to form an infinite terms to being used in calculus. In development of infinite, they refer a lot to number theory because they both locate in Fermat's last theorem. Infinitesimal definition. A quantities that are closer to zero than any standard real number but are not zero. The concept of infinitesimal had arisen with problems of geometric character, and infinitesimal were originally conceived as belonging solely to the realm of continuous magnitudes as opposed to that of discrete number. However, the first idea appears in the work of Pierre de Fermat on the determination of maximum and minimum, which is extreme values. Fermat's treatment of maxima and minima contains the germ of fertile technique of infinitesimal variation. Fermat applies this method in determining tangent to curves and center of gravity. Another of Fermat's major contribution to infinitesimal analysis is to be found in his work on the rectification of curves.